So the database testing is in a simple word called as the backend testing, in which you don't have any kind of interface and you don't have the GUI. So how we need to do and what kind of strategy we need to follow for doing the database testing. So let's talk more in detail. What is database testing now? Three things, guys, you need to make sure you have to check whenever we are talking about the database testing. So the first of all, if you just observe in this form, most of the times you are doing such kind of testing with the help of GUI. So the GUI testing is all about you have the different fields like username, password, confirm password, date of birth, and as per your business requirement, as per your client requirement, uh, you have the GUI. And whenever you are filling these information in the respective fields, and then after specifying all the respective inputs, and once you click on the submit button, your all the transactions will navigate towards the storage area, and that storage area will call as the table, a database. So all these information, whenever you need to retrieve your data, or if you are moving towards any doctor clinic or a hospital, and whenever they will search your ID, so all your data will come. So how your data will be coming and presenting in these respective fields, this is only due to the databases. So now, being as a software tester, if your management, they will be assign a task to you that you're supposed to do the database testing. So what are the things you need to make sure? So three things always remember you're supposed to perform whenever you have to do the database testing. Number one, validate the existence of value in the database table. So the first point, you need to ensure that whatever the value you are specifying here, that must exist in the respective database table. For example, this is the form, let's say talk about the customer information. So there should be a one table in a database which is called a customer information. So all these information, whenever we are uh, filling here, should be stored in the customer table. The second point, you need to make sure as a software tester that validate the correctness of values in the database table. Whatever you are specifying here, you need to make sure, being as a software tester, that your name, your username, password, confirm password, date of birth, all must be stored in respective database table in the same way, and the data should not be lost. Like if you specify the email like this, so the complete email should be presenting there now, and the respective fields, like here, the username should map in the backend for the customer table customer name. That should not be the case, like customer name should show in the email column. So if that is the case, then you need to raise a bug and report to the management and the development team. Similarly, the third point, you need to make sure that validate the completeness of values in the database table. So the third point here, this should not be the case, like your incomplete data should show there. So the data should be specified in a respective customer table column completely. Like the data should not be truncate, your date of birth, your phone number, your address should be presenting in your customer table similar way as you are presenting here in your front end GUI interface. So the point is, like, let's talk about in this diagram. So the three things, I'm going to give you the real-time example. This is the snapshot of the SQL Server. For doing the practice, I strongly recommend all of you that you should have to install the SQL Server, or if you don't have the SQL Server, then you can do the practice on the Microsoft Cloud SQL Server or Azure cloud services. You can take and run all these queries there. As you can see here, that the three things I'm going to let you know here. So the first of all, validate the existence of values in the database table. So here I specified the query, select static from customer. Select means this is the reserved word. Static means to show me the all the records from the table name here, the customers, where I am saying to the SQL server that the backend that the contact last name should be equal to King. Now once I specified all these information and run on the click on run button, so I will be able to get these records. Now this is the time I need to make sure that whenever I am searching for this particular query, my last name, so I know that this record exists in the database, but I need to make sure that I will be able to retrieve my existence of the values in the database table or not. So if the first condition is true, okay, this means there is no bug. Now this is the second part will come, in which we need to make sure the correctness of values in the database table. So similar way, in this customer table, as you can see, if I need to make sure that my correct state is showing in the respective column, the postal code is showing properly, the country is showing properly, and the customer contact name is showing properly, correctly in mapping with the relevant columns or not. And in the last, I need to make sure that completeness of the values in the database, that all the complete customer name information should be stored in the respective column, and that should not be the case like any value should be truncated. So I hope that you got the clear cut idea about how to do the database testing. And these three things, these 3 points, whenever someone else asks you during the interview or during the testing or in your real-time challenges, so these 3 things you must verify and validate. And if these 3 things are missing, then you need to report the issues and bugs to your development team, and they are supposed to be responsible for fixing those issues now. So I hope that you got the idea, and thank you very much for watching this session.